and then continued as a founding member of Dr. David Walker's Los Angeles Church before moving on to the NoHo Arts Center and the Global Truth Center, where he received his practitioner and ministerial training and has served on the board and as the administrator of the center. Jay is a theater producer, director, and actor, a voiceover artist and audiobook narrator, as well as a drummer and a singer. He has worked in movie development as the vice president of Allo Entertainment, was the assistant to the president at the World Academy of Professional Development with international best-selling author Dr. Rosaline Glickman. Reverend Jay has a blog, a podcast, and videos using his moniker New Thought Guy, where his mission is to inspire, provoke, and entertain others to their greatest good. Please give your warm and open-hearted attention to Reverend Jay Willick.
Thank you, Lay. Thank you. Perfect, beautiful, thank you. Well, thank you. Welcome. I welcome you. And by the way, don't heckle me, because I know how to heckle back. So it's very interesting that you give me an introduction, and now I have to kind of calm you down and go into meditation. So we good with that? All right. Let's kind of wiggle in our seats a little bit, because we've been sitting for a while. We got through some inspiring entertainment, other than Patrick. All day long. I'm glad you're there, Patrick.
Patrick, go ahead, Patrick.
Something to use in case I need you.
Go ahead, Patrick. Go on.
So wiggle your seat a little bit, because you've been sitting for a little bit, and happy Sunday, and hello wherever, whoever, camera's on me. Hello everyone out there in the intranets. Let's take a deep breath together. If it's comfortable for you, close your eyes. You don't have to close your eyes, but I will. And we're going to do something a little different than you probably have done today. I want you to think about the bottom of your spine. And from that place, I want you to drop a cord, a rope, an anchor, a waterfall, a laser light. I want you to feel that and see this cord going from the base of your spine all the way to the center of the earth. Allowing that to ground you to this beautiful planet, to this life that we live on. And as you connect yourself to the earth, open your heart with every breath, knowing that with every breath, what is happening is God is, I am. For as we connect ourselves purposefully, consciously, intentionally to our planet, to that life that we live upon, we also consciously, intentionally, purposefully, mindfully connect to the divine within. With every breath, God is, I am. God is, I am. I am. I am. God I am so open your eyes. Hello, Simi Valley. Woo! How are ya? Everybody good? Sunday. It's Sunday. It's time for service. Time to be pious. Everybody pious? We're not at church? I was brought up Jewish, so church, the idea of church to me is a little odd. So, here I am. You sizing me up? Checking me out? You know, you probably know. Did I push that or did you put that? It's all right. You can say anything you want. But I only have a few minutes, so don't take my time. So you probably know or assume, because, you know, here I am in Southern California, I was an actor. So this is kind of reminding me like an audition. Now, in an audition, you usually only get maybe a minute, maybe 5 minutes if you're lucky. And here I get like 20, 25. So this is very exciting for me. And I did a lot of musical theater. Thank you. I did a lot of musical theater. And I did a lot of musical theater, and when you do musical theater, usually for an audition, you go in and you sing a song, and you get like 4 bars of music to sing, and you got to make sure at the end of those 4 bars you hit your big note, your money note, they call it, your high note, and that you can sing very long and loud, and you know, and that can be 16 bars if you're Barbra Streisand. That started me thinking, wow, what if they told me I have 4 bars, or I have 4 words, and then I had to hit them with my money topic, my money idea. And I was thinking about that, and I thought, okay, what could I do? You are all fabulous, and so it is. Thank you very much. Namaste. But no, I get 20 minutes. So, I'm sure you've heard things about me. No. Well, you'll ask, won't you? I'll be grilled in an hour and a half, and that's okay. I know a lot of you are looking at me and checking me out and wondering, who is this guy? Are you looking at me suspiciously? Some of you. Don't answer. This is rhetorical questions. Are you looking at me suspiciously? Who is this guy? Oh my God, another actor turned minister. Or are you looking at me through the eyes of love? Song cue. And that's what I want to talk about a little bit today. I want to know if you would think different of me if you knew I was Taurus. And I am. If you knew that I was born in the Chinese year of the dog, which I was. So if you thought of me that way as a Taurian and someone who was born in the year of the dog, you would think I was practical but lazy, creative but possessive, stable but stubborn, the bull, trustworthy and generous but self-indulgent, amiable, kind, loyal, sincere, romantic, creative. I'm confused and I know myself. So many things you could look at me as, you could perceive me as. And I want you to explore with me today, not that you have a choice, although the door is open. I did ask for it to be closed and locked once I spoke, but they said that wasn't proper. Yes, what are we doing?
The mic is a little bit distorted. Do you mind doing
No. Oh my God, no. Except now I feel like singing a song. So I want you to explore with me some of the myths. So this is not working. Can I take it off? Whatever. Some of the myths and sins. Now, you know what a sin is. Not what you were brought up to think what a sin is. Sin is an archery term meaning missing the mark. Okay? So that's the kind of sin I'm talking about. I want to explore with you the myths and the sins that color how we see and experience our world. I want you to join me in discovering immaculate perception. So I have a couple of questions. What are you paying attention to? And even more importantly, what are you paying attention with? Beautiful picture of Anais Nin from a novel she wrote, Seduction of the Minotaur. She said, "We do not see things as they are. We see things as we are." We do not see things as they are. We see things as we are. And the first myth I want to talk about is the myth of them, those people. We get into that a little bit. Even the best of us get into biases from our upbringing, from our experiences in life. And those perceptions, those them perceptions, colors everything we see, everyone we see, everything we do, and every experience that shows up in our life. You look at me. There's a bald guy, balding guy, however you want to say it. I have a beard. Picture, I didn't have a beard. Does that change things for you? Does that change your perception? What I'm wearing, do you like that? That could change your perception. Whether you think I'm handsome or not could change your perception of me today. Whether you think I'm funny or not. When I was doing acting, there were a lot of casting directors who would look at me in a different way. Now, these are all casting directors trying to decide, trying to fill a space in a movie or TV show. And there were casting directors in this town that would not see me as anything but the dork, the goofy guy next door. And then that same day in the afternoon or the next day, I'd go to an audition for a casting director who could never see me anything in any way except for the snake lawyer, the CEO of some big company. And they're looking at the same picture, and the same guy is showing up in the room. They had this myth of them, of that perception of who I was. There's a great YouTube video that you might have seen, and it's this guy, and he's a busker. You know what that is? He's in the subway. So he's in the subway with his violin in the Washington, D.C. subway in the morning rush hour with his violin, and he's playing away. Beautiful classical tune. And people, thousands of people, this is a very busy subway, thousands of people just go by him. Oh, God, oh, God. Some guy asking for money, you know, his violin case is open. Oh, jeez. They're focused. They're going to work. They got important things to do. That guy playing the violin, asking me for money. 27 people stopped in that hour or two that he was there during rush hour. 27 out of thousands of people stopped. What they didn't know, and he made, this is great, he made $32 that morning. What people didn't know, and this was a purposefully made experiment. What they didn't know was the gentleman standing there with his violin and his violin case open, asking for money, was probably one of the finest virtuoso violinists in the world, Joshua Bell. And he was playing on a $3.5 million Stradivarius violin. Oh no, I got to go to work. I can't stop and smell the roses. I have important things. I'm an important person. I can't be late. $100 you would pay to see that guy in concert. And he was sitting there for free, playing some beautiful piece. And you can watch it and listen to it on somewhere on YouTube. Just put in Joshua Bell. We see the world not as it is, but as we are. The myth of them. Next, two lovely ladies, Jane Wagner and Lily Tomlin. Jane Wagner, you may or may not know, was the writer of a lot of Lily Tomlin's act, and this particular play that she did, The Search of Signs of Intelligent Life in the Universe. And she said, reality is the leading cause of stress amongst those in touch with it. Reality, the facts, ma'am. The myth of reality. We sit in this myth of reality. Oh, we know what's going on, but you know, we don't realize that facts are transient. Yes? Yeah, facts are transient. And because of that, and because of sitting in facts and what we believe is reality, we actually are ignoring divine intelligence. You want to do that? Ignore divine intelligence? You know, at one time, before they knew they could see it, nobody knew what the atom was. It was still there. The fact was, it was still there. You just didn't know about it. DNA, people didn't know about that until sometime in the 20th century. It was still there. It was still doing its thing. Quantum physics, in the last 50, 60 years, is finally catching up to metaphysics. Is finally realizing, yes, you can applaud, is finally realizing that the universe works in a way, or a similar way, that we've been talking about in our movement since 1840-something, since Emerson, but before Emerson. The myth of reality. Facts. A lot of these you're going to remember. The world is flat. That was a fact. That was a fact. The world is flat. Men can't fly. Or man can't fly. I found this product, several products actually, from the early 20th century, the late 19th century. One of them was water. Now, you know, we have vitamin water, and they put all kinds of junk well, it's good stuff, in water now to make it better. Vitamin water. There was a water product in the early part of the 20th century that had radioactive material in it and was supposed to be healthy for you. We all know about Coca-Cola. Used to have cocaine in it. Remember? I think now only the Mexican Coke, as they call it, has that still in there. Of course, you might remember, those who are either old enough or are into nostalgia, in the 50s, smoking was good for you. Smoking was something to do to ease your throat, not destroy it. And the biggest one that surprised me was this. The Bayer Pharmaceutical Company, in the early part of the 20th century, had a cough syrup with heroin in it. Little cough syrup with heroin in it. You don't care how sick you are. Now, the last thing I want to talk about in the myth of reality is some other silly perceptions we have, and we equate these perceptions to a person's worth. And I'm going to show you a few pictures here. Well, wait, before I show you a few pictures, please do not take insult. My girlfriend happens to be one, but what do you see, what do you think when, not everybody, I know Patrick does, when you see a blonde? Dumb blonde. Of course, not true. So here's a few examples. One of them you might recognize. Don't shout it out. This woman right here, pretty blonde with a nice smile in front of her little crafty thing. She's doing a little crafty thing. Blondes do that. Well, that is Karen Nyberg. She is an astronaut. She has a PhD in mechanical engineering, and she spent many months doing experiments on the International Space Station. That is no dumb blonde. This other woman sitting on this this funny little balloon thing, I don't know if she's exercising or what, and then they have all these toys in the background. This dumb blonde is Marissa Mayer. She's the CEO of Yahoo. And then, as I said, you might recognize Joanne down there. Joanne is also known as J.K. Rowling, and she has sold over 450 million books. Dumb? Hardly, yes. But we have a perception, some of us have a perception that blondes are dumb. We sit in this myth of reality. So what are you looking for? What are you expecting? Do you see blessings in the world, or do you see conflicts of the world? Do you see kindness in the world, or do you focus on terror in the world? And what are you looking from? An expectation of blessings or of conflicts? An expectation of kindness or of terror? An expectation of goodness or someone against you? Some people will see a Middle Eastern person walking by, maybe in the common clothing that they may wear in the Middle East, and they think, Muslim, terror, step away, be careful, don't say hi, don't look at them. Did you know most of the Muslims in this world are from Indonesia? Look nothing like a Middle Eastern person. You see a guy walking down the street in traffic, you're at a stop sign, and there's some guy, and you know he's got a box or a jar or something, and he obviously is going to ask for money. Do you roll your window up? Do you lock your door? Now, I'm not saying any of these things as a judgment. This is not a judgment. This is something to look at, something to discover in yourself. It's the myth of facts and them. Einstein said the most important decision we make is whether we believe we live in a friendly or hostile universe, and you get to choose. But while you're choosing that, while you're making that decision, maybe on a daily basis, I want you to remember this. Life loves you. This is one of Louise Hay's daily affirmations to herself. This woman is almost 90 years old. Now the picture kind of stretches her out a little bit, but 90, successful, big-time publisher, still goes and does workshops. Life loves you. Do you believe the universe is for you or against you? That's a decision you need to make. On a daily basis, maybe, but you need to make that decision. There's a guy, he was in deep meditation, and he was having a conversation with God. And he says, God, how much is $1 million to you? And God says, it is but a penny in the universe of unlimited possibilities. The man thinks for a moment, and he says, God, how long is 1,000,000 years to you? And God said, it is but a second in this universe of unlimited possibilities. The man gets a little smile on his face, and he says, God, I think I believe in this universe of unlimited possibilities. May I have a penny? And God says, sure, just a sec. The next myth, the myth of inadequacy. What did this guy say? I think I believe. May I hope, can I, please, I beseech you. All those kind of attitudes, all those kind of perceptions of the universe cloud and color your experience. I'll call them back. You know, there's a power for good in the universe, and you get to use it. You know who said that? Every week for 5, 6, 7 years? Ernest Holmes in his radio show and the one television episode that he did, or that survives. There's a power for good in the universe, and you get to use it. This myth about inadequacy, that you're inadequate somehow. Now, I'm not talking about knowledge or your level of talent in a certain things. I mean, in general, your inadequacy, that is BS. And you need to get that BS out of your BS. And the second BS I'm talking about is your belief system. The first one probably I shouldn't say. But you know what I'm talking about. That myth is wrong. The universe is here. The universe conspires for you. You're unique. There's no way you can be inadequate. Do you know what the odds are for anyone else to have the DNA that you have? And I'm talking even if you are an identical twin. The odds are 400 trillion to 1. And I'm sure that's a conservative estimate based on today's facts. Also, did you know it takes, well, it doesn't take, there is an average of 200 million sperm competing to fertilize one egg at a time. 200 million, that's almost the population of the United States. 400 trillion, the other piece of math I told you about, that's more people than on the earth. So if there's 400 trillion to 1 odds that there could be somebody like you, or this marathon, this triathlon of 200 million sperms vying, competing to fertilize one egg that ends up making you, how could you possibly think that you are not unique? And that the universe did not bring you here, and you are more than that word adequate. Just because you are. I don't care what you've done or what you will do in life. Just because you are. You are a gift. You individualize God right here, right now. You are a personalization of divine intelligence, whatever you want to call that, power. We're surrounded by that. We are embedded with. That is a fact that even you can't take away. Oh, you can change your perception of life and not live that, but you can't take that fact away. And you know why? Because that is the truth. And a truth is not fleeting. One of my mentors, as Lane was telling you, was Dr. David Walker. And he wrote a book, and his ministry was pretty much about this. You are enough, always was, always will be. So what do we do now? What do we do with all this information that this guy, this candidate, has been telling us about? Wayne Dyer, The Power of Intention. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at changes. Change the way you look at things, and the things you look at will change. That guy in the street, the man in the robes, the balding ex-actor standing in front of you. But how do you change? What tools can I give you? But first I want to tell you a story. A Buddhist monk approaches a burger food truck, and he orders a burger with everything. Give me a burger with everything. And he hands the guy, this Buddhist monk, hands the vendor $20. And the vendor takes the $20 and he puts it in his cash box, closes the cash box, turns around, and starts making the burger with everything on it. And the Buddhist monk replies, "Whoa, wait, hold on. Where's my change?" And the vendor looks at the Buddhist monk and he says, "Change comes from within." That's the strategy here. It's time to have beginner's mind. It's time to take all your vast intelligence, all your fabulous experience, and put them aside and have beginner's mind. Let's get back to kindergarten. In Buddhism, they call this Shoshin. There's a beautiful story, and I'll tell it real quick. And some of you may have heard this. There's a little girl, she's about 4 years old, maybe 3, 4. And she goes up to her parents and she says, I want to hang out with Billy by myself. Billy's the new infant child. And the parents are like, leave her alone with the baby. What could happen? And, those who are parents or any of those of us who are in love, you don't even have to talk. You can see in each other's eyes, all right. So they say, sure, fine. And they take the little girl into the infant's bedroom, and they kind of close the door. Well, of course, there's a baby monitor in there. And so, they close the door, and then, of course, they run to their room where the other walkie-talkie is, and they start listening. And they hear the baby cooing and giggling because he recognizes his sister. And all of a sudden, they hear the little girl say, Billy. Could you tell me what God is like? I'm beginning to forget. We get sucked into the news, into education, into our careers, even into our families, into the stuff of life, and we forget about where we come from. We forget about our uniqueness. We need to get back to that. We need to include that or incorporate that or continue that in this. You hear about this stuff all the time. You'll see it in the corner. All this, it's kind of off. All this is spiritual practice. And that's just the ones I came up with. There might be more. You might do more. You might do less. I don't need to talk about it much. You hear it all the time. Spiritual practice. Get it in your life. But you don't have to do any of these things to have spiritual practice. A friend of mine sent me a essay he wrote. We were talking about this a few weeks ago, and he sent me an essay he wrote about faith. And in the beginning paragraphs, he talks about he was 5 years old, and he's looking at he had a long-haired dachshund, and he was looking at the inside of his long-haired dachshund's ear. And as an intelligent adult, he is in his 60s now, and looking back on that, he realized that is the day he knew what God was. Looking at the intricacies of the inside of his dog ears. And if you have a pet, you know what I'm talking about. When you look inside the eyes of your pet or your child, do you see unconditional love? Or do you see the money you have to spend for the upkeep of this thing? And especially with a dog, when you look into its eyes, I miss my dog. When you look into its eyes, do you see loyalty? Or do you think, oh God, I got to walk this thing twice a day? What's your perspective? So say it's your birthday. Go to a restaurant, you're going to give yourself a treat, and you get this luscious, some of you may not like this, but presume you do. You get this luscious chocolate lava cake. It's sitting there in front of you, it's all warm, you can see the steam, it's so good. And when you bite into it, do you think this is a gorgeous treat? Or do you wonder about the sugar content? Mind you, this is not every day you're having this. This is a treat. This is a special time. Do you think, this thing, chocolate, dark chocolate, is full of antioxidants and flavonoids that actually are very healthy for you? Do you think that, or do you think that lips to hips thing? Because if you do, don't waste your time or your money on buying a luscious piece of chocolate lava cake. If you're not going to enjoy it, if you're not going to take the moment and even see the divine in that thing, don't buy it. Change the way you look at things, and the things you look at changes. William Blake wrote this beautiful poem, and at the beginning it says, to see a world in a grain of sand, and a heaven in a wildflower, hold infinity in the palm of your hand, and eternity in an hour. So I want to give you two things to help you with this. The first thing is gratitude. You know, gratitude is one of the most important things we can do in life, and especially as people in this philosophy. Wayne Dyer gets up every morning, and before he does anything, he says, thank you, thank you, thank you. He greets the day in gratitude. Now, I want to point out, this is not, and I'm going to talk about this in the workshop later too, this is not the type of gratitude, oh, thank you, oh, that was so nice of you to give me that. This is the thank you you give when you've already received something. You receive something, you're polite, you say thank you, because you already have it. This is the kind of gratitude to start every day with, or incorporate it in one of these things that you're doing. The second thing I want to talk about, you might have seen this TED Talk, a woman named Amy Cuddy. She's a social psychologist. She is the associate professor at the Harvard Business School. And she talks about power stances. Have you heard of this? Power stance, fabulous thing. So for 2 minutes you hold it, and I'll show you in a second. For 2 minutes you hold a power stance. And what that does is your body, biology of belief fans, your body reacts to this by pouring more testosterone into your system. Everybody has testosterone. Everybody uses some. Testosterone is the hormone that gives you power, that gives you this sense of command. And at the same time it is doing that, it is also easing down, lessening this thing called cortisol. You heard of that? Cortisol. Cortisol is a wonderful thing to have if the car flips over and you need to push it up because somebody's under it. You'll all of a sudden have this incredible strength because this cortisol is running through you, which gives you superhuman strength. It's also the fight or flight hormone. If you're standing in front of a tiger, cortisol will help you make that decision to not get eaten. But you don't want cortisol all the time because it will eat you. It makes you, when you're in stress, that cortisol is going, and it'll burn you out. So these power stances increase your testosterone and decrease your cortisol. And what you're doing is this. And you know who does that every single time? He does a workshop to 2,000-3,000 people for 8-10 hours on a day for an entire weekend. Every time before he goes on stage to do his work and to inspire people, Tony Robbins. He does a few other things, but he also does for 2 minutes. 2 new things for you if you haven't heard those. 2 new things to add to this or to replace this if you want. Pay attention to what you pay attention to. Watch your thoughts, for they become words. Watch your words, for they become actions. Watch your actions, for they become habits. Watch your habits, for they become character. And watch your character, for it becomes your destiny. What we think, we become. So says the Tao. So I invite you to defy your negative past, your biases, your preconceptions, any ideas, techniques, mythologies that you have that are limiting. And you know what they are. And if you have to dig deep and find them. Look into your heart. They're there. They'll come out. They'll talk to you. And you'll be able to realize who needs to go. Jane Wagner again through Lily Tomlin. The mind-altering drug, the best one, the best mind-altering drug is the truth. And what's the truth? The truth is you get to choose, you get to decide, you have volition. And you have the power to decide, is life scary or exciting? Is life hate-filled or loving? Is life problematic or unlimited? Is life full of lack everywhere, here and there in the world? Or is there abundance available to everything and everyone? Is life chaotic or is life peaceful? You get to choose, because there's a power for good in the universe and you get to use it. You're using it right now. You used it to get here. You used it to get up this morning. The immaculate perception is the perception we want to live our lives by on a daily basis. And I want to get you started by this affirmation. Please repeat after me. I am perfect, whole, and complete right now. No matter the conditions. I am loved. You're perfect, whole, and complete. I know that is some old buzzword from religious science and new thought from 100 years ago. But you know, it's true. I don't care how you feel. I don't care how much money is in your bank. I don't care where your career is and your education is. You are right now perfect, whole, and complete, and you have the power to change your life today the way you want it. Join me in having a perspective of peace. And know that peace has arrived, love has arrived, prosperity has arrived. It is here now. See ease in your life, whether you have it or not. See health in your life, whether you have it or not. See creativity in your life, right action in your life, and see it right now. Because you've got to see it in your mind, in your heart, in your soul, in your gut. You have to see it there before it happens out here. And if something needs to be changed, then see the change in your mind, in your heart, in your soul, and watch it show up. Perceive life through the divine in you. Know the truth, live the truth, be the truth, and not only watch your life soar, not only watch your life soar, but the life of our planet and the people on it prosper in peace and love, in immaculate perception. Thank you. Namaste.